Hey everyone, welcome to CoreWeave's podcast studio here in our booth at NVIDIA GTC 2026. This is day 3, and if you can see any of the energy behind me, it has not leveled off yet. This is the AI Super Bowl. People have been describing it as the heartbeat of AI, a carnival. I'm here for it. We also know that GTC really sets the tone for where AI is headed. I'm so pleased to be joined by CoreWeave's Chief Revenue Officer, John Jones. John, thanks so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. It's great to be back at GTC, surrounded by customers and partners and friends. And I've been doing this long enough, probably some of them are closer to family. It's just such an exciting show, really exciting time.
It is. I kept saying electric, and last night I was like, I need a different word. It's kinetic. I've been to a million shows like you have as well. This is a different level of energy, still going on, 30,000 people. I always think like you, every time you go to a conference, it's like a reunion, family, friends, etc. But you know, Jensen's keynote is always very polarizing. What were some of the things that stood out to you in terms of what he announced and shared, and also what he shared about NVIDIA Heart CoreWeave?
Right, that was amazing. And Jensen's keynote to kick off the week is always one of the most inspirational and aspirational and visionary parts of the entire show. I had so much fun watching that. The heart out to CoreWeave was incredible. Of course, as you know, he's been a great partner for us, and we try to be as good of a partner for him as we possibly can. He stopped by the booth here, said hi to everyone, took some pictures with everyone, and really his message during his keynote was talking about how this business is becoming a $1 trillion business. And I had the privilege to live through the dot-com boom. There are of course a lot of analogs. This might be 10 times or even 100 times bigger than that. And so if Jensen's talking about how this $1 trillion AI economy is coming, CoreWeave is really the way that the $1 trillion economy is going to come to fruition, where customers are running workloads across a full stack of services, and in a way that's AI native, and that's really never been done before, or at the scale that we're doing it at, and that's just a really fun place to be.
It is so fun, and the potential is limitless, I think. But what were some of the key signals that you took away that you'll want to share with your customers in your conversations?
So first, I'd say that we're seeing a lot of the same momentum with our customers that Jensen's talking about. Workloads are moving from experimentation into production. Training is moving into inference, and we're finally starting to see adoption at scale across all customer segments, from enterprise to AI natives, and it's a really exciting time for that. And if NVIDIA is a lot of the innovation engine that's driving a lot of this adoption, I would say that CoreWeave is really the execution engine, where that is meeting customers where they're at, being informed by customers' priorities. And CoreWeave was built on serving the most demanding customers and innovative customers and technically forward-leaning customers in the world, which has helped us inform our product roadmap. It really helps us drive innovation, and we put customers first. And so being here, having a chance to meet with all of those customers in person, and the partners in the ecosystem, by the way, that are all required to drive this innovation, has been just so exciting.
And you mentioned the ecosystem. I'm on Schwab Network a lot, and I'm asked, since the IPO of CoreWeave, I've been asked to talk about CoreWeave, why am I bullish, etc. But also, we talk about NVIDIA all the time on Schwab. And I always say, NVIDIA's not doing this alone. The ecosystem, as you can see, you just get a glimpse of it on the show floor, is massive. It continues to grow. What does that deepening partnership with NVIDIA, between it and CoreWeave, mean for your customers and your prospects? How does that really facilitate your conversations?
Well, we've announced a lot of innovations in partnership with NVIDIA, and we continue to do that into this week, continuing to be the first or among the first to make these platforms production ready, to put them in general availability. Our customers trust us that when we say it's ready, and we have a really tight closed feedback loop with NVIDIA and with the ecosystem, to the point that we are referenced as the best place to run these workloads. NVIDIA relies on us for reference architectures, and there's third-party analysis that backs that up too, and our customers rely on that also, including the Semi-Analysis Platinum Cluster Max Award, which we just won, and we're the only cloud provider to win that. And that's just incredible validation of the good work that's being done at the technical level at the company, at the operational level at the company, and even at the commercial level at the company, given the pace of growth that we've seen.
You mentioned the word validation, and I love speaking with customers. I have had several on the podcast this week, and I think that's the best validation a brand can get, is customers really sharing what they were going through, why they chose CoreWeave, what the tipping point was. And one of the words that came up in my conversation with Mercado Libre in an earlier podcast was the word transparency. When it comes to CoreWeave, we said it's transparent. With this direct to expert Slack channel, even though our time zones are quite different, they get back to us, they show us when things might not be going right, they're transparent, they're open, and that is foundational to earning and maintaining customer trust.
That's right, and we really put customers at the center of everything we do. The transparency is important because we're doing things together that have never been done before. And when you're co-building and you're innovating like that, it really takes a team effort. And you have to be transparent and really quickly close feedback loops. And we're on Slack with our customers. We just announced Arena, where customers can run proof of concepts to see how this actually works in the wild. And when you have the privilege, which we do, of working with customers like OpenAI or CrowdStrike or Cognition and Perplexity and just really the leading innovators in the world, that feedback is so important, as I mentioned earlier, to our product roadmap. And you talked about growth. The pace of growth is mind-boggling. The numbers are mind-boggling. We're seeing, and Jensen talked about this, there are winners starting to emerge across industries, physical AI, security, and including in our business, where a lot of neoclouds started out many years ago, and there is separation happening right now, and winners are emerging in our business too. And we just announced on earnings that we are larger than the next 15 neoclouds across Europe and North America combined. It's incredible growth, incredible progress, and that growth just continues. And so that's a super exciting time for us, and it reminds me of what the world looked like 25 years ago in Silicon Valley when we were doing this for the first time for the internet.
Yeah, but we're more prepared. We have hindsight to be able to really kind of lead us forward. When you're at the center of customer engagements, which you are obviously a Chief Revenue Officer, what are some of the things that they come to you saying, John, help us with this, because that accelerated rocket ship, everyone seems to be on that. But I think the hard thing is the pressure's there. How do you advise customers to start small, think fast, fail fast, not try to boil the ocean where AI is concerned? Because that pressure, the AI race, everyone's feeling it.
Yeah. Well, we have an opportunity to be a trusted advisor to customers on this journey. We are seeing the patterns emerge. We are understanding how we run a full AI stack platform. We're not just GPUs. We have GPUs and CPUs and storage and networking and developer tools, and have done amazing acquisitions just in the last year, from Weights and Biases to Monolith to so many other companies, and we're all coming together in an orchestrated system to deliver a full stack AI platform so customers can come run their AI workloads on CoreWeave, from training to inference to reinforcement learning to agentic workloads. And so we're helping customers on that journey. And that's a really exciting time. Again, back to collaborating, back to being transparent, and we're figuring out how to do this in real time. And the world's changing so fast. Even us as a company, if you looked at us 6 months ago, we're an evolved company, even just from 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And people forget, we went public less than 1 year ago.
Right.
And so the team did a really amazing job going into the public markets and telling the story as well.
Yeah. Well, and I was talking with Gene earlier, and one of the biggest differences when you take a company public is suddenly you're transparent.
Right.
And I understand that from an operations perspective, but when I heard it from the voice of a customer in a previous podcast this week, I thought that's really a word I would use to describe CoreWeave, is transparent. And that just goes such a long way. We are in early 2026. We already talked about the pace, the performance, partnerships. What are some of the really kind of leading edge AI use cases that you're hearing customers come to you saying, John, help us on this?
Yeah. So we are seeing adoption across industries and customer segments. One of the ways I think about that is we look at customer needs across geographies. Customer needs are different in Europe than North America than Asia. We look at customer needs across segments, so enterprises have different needs than AI natives, than startups, maybe than software providers. And we look at diversification across industries. So financial services might have different needs than media and entertainment or automotive. And so we look at all of those, and we look at all of the workloads across those, and there's adoption happening everywhere. A lot of workloads that were historically ML driven are now ML and AI driven. Jane Street's an amazing company and customer for us in the quant space and the high performance and the high frequency trading space. There are companies building models and executing on model implementation to make decisions beyond just the frontier labs, and so we're able to help across the board. There's a lot of talk about the revenue of the company, and so I think about revenue and go-to-market maybe in 3 buckets.
Okay.
The first one is the size of revenue. So Mike talks about this all the time. We are seeing unprecedented demand for our services. That demand is coming from all segments, all customer types, and that's really incredible, and that's driving some of the size of the revenue that we talked about. But then there's also the shape of revenue, and this gets to the diversification and what Jensen spent so much time talking about, use cases across robotics and physical AI and financial services and all of the customer segments that I've talked about. And so it has been a stated goal of CoreWeave to focus on customer diversification and revenue diversification ever since we went public, and we continue to do that in a big way. So that's size of revenue, it's shape of revenue, and the last one I'd say maybe is quality of revenue. And our customers tell us and tell the world, by the way, Jensen's an amazing salesperson for CoreWeave.
Right.
Our customers are actually the best salespeople for CoreWeave, and I love that. And we have an opportunity to serve the best customers in the world because that's where we started, with the most rigorous demands and solving the hardest challenges with transparency together. And so we have the best customers in the world in all of these segments coming to us saying, hey, can you help? And so as we look toward building a durable business, one of the best ways you can build a durable business is to partner with the leading companies at the head of their fields,
yes,
with the most traction, who are also building durable businesses, and we have a privilege to serve those customers.
You mentioned the word diversification. Let's talk about another D word, differentiation. Everyone's here, the ecosystem is bigger than it probably has ever been. How does CoreWeave differentiate itself from those legacy hyperscalers?
Legacy hyperscalers, that's a loaded word. So first, I actually don't love the term legacy hyperscaler. The tone's a little bit negative, but it's a fact, and it's incredible that those companies have built businesses over the last 20 years that are bigger than any businesses in the history of technology. And that comes with the privilege of serving diverse customers and diverse workloads. But the reality is that there are a lot of legacy workloads that it requires those companies to serve. And those legacy workloads come with the burden and the tax of certain architectural requirements and an inability maybe to focus solely and wholly on AI, which is a privilege that we have, to build from the ground up an AI native hyperscaler focused on AI workloads, which is only a small piece of those hyperscalers' business. It allows us to move really fast. It's resulting in the revenue growth and the adoption that we talked about, and it results in our ability to innovate very quickly on a product basis with customers and continue to build out a full stack platform at every layer of the stack. And it's just a super exciting time to be solely focused on AI, customers driving AI, and AI workloads. And that's really at the heart and soul of what we do at CoreWeave.
I really appreciate that you use the word privilege. It's a privilege to work with our customers. It's a privilege to work with partners. That is such an honest perspective, but it's true. You're doing this for customers. You're doing this with partners to enable customers, whether it's financial services or Aston Martin F1, to deliver results that they're expecting to do. So if we kind of break things all down and we look ahead, the speed and scale is, I can't even comprehend it. What do you think that, oh, sorry, where's my question? I just lost it. Let me do that again. I love that you use the word privilege when you're talking about serving customers, working with partners, because brands should really think of it like that. I think a lot don't, but there's a lot of transparency. There's also a genuineness to CoreWeave. When we look at things going forward, lots of news from NVIDIA this week, lots of news from CoreWeave, tons of booth traffic, 8 demos here that weren't here last year. What are some of the next opportunities that you see CoreWeave has to help customers really accelerate AI in production?
It is interesting being at GTC. You walk around and you see a lot of speeds and feeds and companies focused on the things that they do great, and we're really proud of what we do, but the customers are the heroes at the center of all of this. The founders, the innovators who are really making breakthroughs, and so our ability to support them from scientific discovery through to curing cancer, to solving the hardest problems the world's ever seen, that's really what gets us all going in the morning. And the mission that we are rallying behind is just a unique, once-in-a-lifetime chance and generational opportunity for us to serve customers in a way that if we do it well, will make our company a generational company.
It's symbiosis, really, at the heart of it. Last question for you. I was going to ask you like 3 years down the road, but I'm like, let's go to next year, because 3 years is too much, and the speed and scale is too crazy. What do you think we might see next year NVIDIA GTC that you'd say, in hindsight, yeah, I saw that coming?
Well, there's a lot of speculation right now on where some of the adoption will happen. If you look at physical AI and robotics, there are every shape and size of robot. For example, here, you have humanoids, you have robot dogs with legs, you have robot dogs with wheels, and the use cases are widely varying from being on site at mines to jumping off of trucks to deliver food, to whatever the use case is. And so I think we'll start to see next year that we are finding where the real monetizable use cases are. There will continue to be innovation across the board, but those use cases will then really rapidly expand into adjacent use cases. And so if this year is the year of Jensen saying there's $1 trillion economy coming, next year, I believe, is when we'll start to see where that $1 trillion economy is starting to get traction. And we are already seeing companies building things that we've never seen before. Agentic workloads, reinforcement learning, we're trying to figure that out. Where the new data sets of the future are, what data gravity looks like. You're going from data centers servicing models and workloads deployed anywhere in a software world to physical AI, and maybe even fleets of robots in physical AI running models at the edge, and what does that look like? We also learned in the last few years that there will be an implementation of a model cocktail or lots of models to solve problems, maybe not just one general purpose model. And so how companies are putting these breakthroughs together, it's really incredible engineering work, because all of these companies, every time a new model comes out, have to evaluate what's the impact on my business, how do I go operate differently, and then price performance as durable businesses start to get built will continue to matter. And so next year we'll probably still talk about AI. I do think, I'm not sure if it's 2 years or 3 years from now, we're going to talk a lot less about AI companies, and we're just going to start talking about companies again, because every AI company will just be a company.
Exactly, and they have no choice, right? They're on that path. And fortunately for many of them, they get the chance to work with CoreWeave to really manifest that and put that into production at scale in ways that, to your point, next year, we're going to start to see the manifestation of the monetization.
That's right.
Show me the money, like they said in Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money, yes.
John, thank you so much for sharing the growth trajectory CoreWeave is on, your center of gravity around customers, the ecosystem, how that matters, and the opportunities that you see going forward. They seem to be limitless, but thank you for giving us some of your insights.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. For John Jones, I'm Lisa Martin. You're watching CoreWeave Live, NVIDIA GTC Day 3. Thanks for watching our podcast.